Hey fellow moviegoers, it's me, Phil. Well, I'm not actually trying to find the source code, I'm actually trying to find Paoli. I'm going to take a little train ride in order to get ready for source code, which came out in theaters on April 1st. But first, in this episode, I am going to give you an update on my review for Sucker Punch. And we also have a review of a Dying Breed Movie Club movie from 1972 called High Plains Drifter. Alright, roll the open. Hey everyone, I'm finally getting a chance to go see Sucker Punch. I'm gonna head to the Regal Cinemas in Downingtown to check out the movie. So let's get going.
In Sucker Punch, a young woman named Baby Doll, who is stuck in an orphanage by her corrupt stepfather, manages to escape her imprisonment by thinking her way into an alternate universe, while at the same time doing an exotic dance for the deadbeat orphanage owner's clients. In this alternate universe, she learns of ways that will aid in her escape from the orphanage and a life of hell. Zack Snyder, the director of this movie, is most noted for 300 from 2006 and Watchmen from 2009, but he is also well known for the awful Dawn of the Dead remake from 2004, so I was a little nervous as to where I would land on this one. Emily Browning plays Baby Doll. Regal Cinemas in Downingtown, Pennsylvania is a 16-auditorium theater that was opened in 1999. The movie theater's auditoriums each feature fantastic stadium seating, lots of legroom with cup holders, and digital sound. While I really enjoyed the soundtrack, watching the CGI, taking in the eye candy, and the impressive imagery, the story had a major flaw in it. No matter what kind of movie you are making, do not insult the audience by force-feeding them a story with no real explanation as to what is going on, and hope they don't notice because they are being dazzled by great imagery.
So the movie was kind of ridiculous. I thought it looked great, it sounded great, I really enjoyed the soundtrack, but it was totally void of plot, very cliche, a lot of silly stuff going on, and you know, it's probably going to lean towards a C. Anyway, you can check out my full review on my Film Me Some Movies Facebook page, and I guess I'm going to start heading home.
It was a crappy rainy day, so I decided to catch up with my Dying Breed Movie Club duties. I threw in a DVD of High Plains Drifter.
The Dying Breed Movie Club is a movie appreciation group that was formed in 2006, loosely based on the book The 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die by Stephen J. Schneider. The group sets out to explore and pronounce that movies from any era are important. Once the club is done watching all the movies in a particular year from the book, and a selection of additional extra credit films picked by the club, they will again roll two 10-sided die, or they will have a vote to see what the next year will be that they will explore.
This would be Clint Eastwood's second directorial effort after Play Misty for me. It takes place in the small cookie-cutter Wild West town of Lago. Lago is a desperate town. The sheriff is dead and the town is terrorized by a band of criminals. Known as the Stranger, Eastwood comes out of the desert like a ghost. His character is hard to understand because he acts like a prick one minute and then does something honorable the next. What is interesting is the mystery surrounding his character. Who is he? Where does he come from? In between scenes, we flash back to the last minutes of Lago's sheriff being whipped to death and what connection it has to Eastwood's character. Eventually, the townspeople hire him to deal with the bad guys. I had problems with this film because of the inconsistencies of Eastwood's character and the vagueness of the mystery surrounding him. To figure things out more, I had a chat with another Dying Breed Movie Club member, my friend Chris Zhang. I'm trying to get Chris to help me figure out why I think Eastwood's character is such an unlikable character and inconsistent. He goes from one place to another. I don't know, what do you think about his character?
He's kind of showing that, these actions of the stranger, they're kind of, they're kind of abrupt, kind of rough, maybe evil or whatever you might think. But
Yeah, I mean, Eastwood, he does a good job directing the movie. I think he just picked a story that's like really vague in parts. He like attacks that one woman. He's just disgruntled and angry and just being a mean guy.
I think the people of the town have blood on their hands for allowing Deputy Jim Duncan to be whipped to death without acting. We might understand now why the stranger has an axe to grind at this time.
Yeah, it gives you a reason as to why Eastwood doesn't like him. I think this is where we start to realize there's a connection between Eastwood and the old sheriff. We just don't know what.
Yeah.
And it was the vagueness of that drove me crazy. But you seem to catch on to it a little bit better than I did.
Well, there was a couple of events that kind of allude the viewer to that conclusion. The stranger comes into town and he kind of, the whole purpose of him being there, like what he's doing is he's kind of dismantling the financial and hierarchical structure of the town.
Well, and they basically say whatever is yours in this town, take. There's no limit. So, and he starts handing out stuff to other people. So that brings us to the whole like mystery of the thing. Clint's character hatches this plan to go after the three criminals, and what he decides to do is, I guess he decides to make the town look like hell. So he decides to paint the whole town red, which I thought was ridiculous, because the criminals come into town. And he leaves. He goes out, he gets on his horse, and he rides away and leaves all the townspeople there to deal with this situation. Of course, they totally F it up. It's like, how dare you make me paint my church red?
Oh yeah, he completely emasculates the men in this town.
I guess it just seemed like so much work just to take out three guys.
Yeah.
It's
definitely a big chore. But yeah, it's interesting. Clint Eastwood has a fun time at these guys' expense, He destroys their town, basically.
Yeah.
The blonde woman, although it might seem that he goes after her, one of the shop owners, they plan like a revolution. They revolt against him, and the blonde woman sets him up in the hotel owner's hotel. He apparently falls asleep, and the guys come upstairs to assassinate him.
And of course, Clint isn't going to fall for that. So.
Yeah.
And then he brings out the stick of dynamite, which is like...
He proceeds to dynamite the hotel to pieces. But the woman goes on to say that, Jim Duncan is laying somewhere out there in an unmarked grave. She also mentions that the souls of men in unmarked graves are never at rest. They're always on the move,
Yeah. From my point of view, I had a hard time with that because if you do a flashback from Clint Eastwood and then you show a different guy, it's like it didn't make no sense to me. So I was trying to go with this reincarnation thing. I don't get it. Is he like, I mean, I guess you're supposed to assume that.
Yeah.
I actually had this problem with Sucker Punch when I went to see it the other night. It's almost like the director decided just to force feed you this story. Like you're supposed to assume that this is how it works. But it's actually a really neat movie to watch.
Yeah.
It just kind of, and you know what?
Kinda trippy.
I'm giving it like a C+. It's not like I'm gonna condemn it to B or F. I mean, no way. It's a really cool movie to watch.
I would probably give it an A. But
that's cool.
You know, this just goes to show that people have their own interpretations.
And it's good to talk about because
Yeah.
you pointed out some stuff that I didn't even notice. So that's it. That was our discussion about High Plains Drifter. Thanks again, Chris, for helping me out with my first episode. You did a great job, man.
Anytime.
In source code, Jake Gyllenhaal, a soldier, finds that his consciousness has been placed into the body of a doctor on a train, and his mission is to find the bomber who blew up the train earlier that morning. What complicates matters is the fact that this process only allows him 8 minutes during each session to figure out who the bomber is. This is only Duncan Jones' second directorial effort. He also directed the critically acclaimed film Moon in 2009. The United Artists East Whiteland Stadium Theater in Frazer, Pennsylvania is a 9-room auditorium theater that also opened in 1999. Each auditorium is stadium seated and has digital sound and wall-to-wall curved screens. The exterior features neo-art modern styling.
Here we go!
What makes this film enjoyable to view are scenes interwoven between the action scenes involving a touching subplot surrounding the relationship between the doctor's girlfriend Christina, played by Michelle Monaghan, and how Gyllenhaal's soldier grows to care for her and the rest of the train passengers. The film maintains a nice steady pace, but it starts to slow down at the very end and almost falls apart.
So what do you think of the movie?
Oh, it was fantastic. Actually, it was a little bit slow near the end, but it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Director Duncan Jones saves the day by calling in, once again, the morality play and creates an environment that makes you feel emotional about whatever fate has fallen upon the nicely built characters that we just got to know during the past 93 minutes.
And what did you think of it?
Source code. When you don't know the source and you don't know the code. It was good. It was really good. It was a gimme because it's directed by Bowie's son. You got a guy wearing a Star Wars t-shirt in there, you got a Bowie reference in there, and it's about time travel, and there's a nod to Legette, so it's a victory all around.
All right, everybody, that was the first episode of Phil Meets the Movies. In our next episode, we're going to go see Your Highness and The Conspirator, and we're going to visit the Callan roller rink and see a movie and watch some roller derby. That's on the next episode of Phil Meets the Movies. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Phil Meets the Movies is produced by Deep Lake Pictures Entertainment and has no connection to any of the movies, artists, or motion picture companies seen in Phil Meets the Movies whatsoever. Copyrights for films, images, sound bites, trademark characters, and related materials discussed in Phil Meets the Movies remain with their respective owners. All materials are solely used for criticism, discussion, and artistic interpretation based on the fair use laws of the United States.